Good morning. This is Administrative Law Judge Dan Gerard with the Washington State Office of Administrative Hearings, calling on a recorded line in the matter of Wautoma Solar, OAH docket 279466, on September 20th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Pacific. I would like someone to go ahead and unmute right quick. We'll just call someone randomly. Ms. Taliaferro, can you hear me? And I'll use you as a sample that everyone else can hear me as well.
Yes, I can definitely hear you.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to start today by taking a roll call to see who's present and who they're here on behalf of. We will then segue into discussing the exhibits, or proposed exhibits rather, as well as the witness list, and then handle any other pre-hearing matters that need to be handled ahead of the hearing next week. So let's go ahead and go around the board from what I can see on my team screen to confirm that everybody who is listed is present, and perhaps those who are not listed or participating jointly with somebody else will also be announced. Give me just a moment, please. So I'll start with who appears to be on behalf of FSEC. Mr. Caputo, are you present?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And that's just for the record, that's Lance Caputo. And I'll go ahead and use everyone's full name just so the record's clear. Joan Owens, are you present?
I am present.
Good. And Andrea Grantham, are you present?
I am present.
Very good. Ms. Taliaferro, you spoke up just a moment ago, so I don't think you need confirmation that you're here. Amy Hofkemeyer, are you present as well?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
And I think those are all the people, at least from the screen that I have up, who are currently with FSEC. I see some people tangentially related to FSEC, and that includes the Attorney Generals. Mr. Thompson or John Thompson, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Very good. And Audra Allen, are you present as well?
I am present.
Very good. And as far as those who are associated with FSEC, is there anybody who either I did not announce or simply missed?
Adrienne Barker, present.
Thank you, Ms. Barker. Actually, I had you down for some reason I didn't call you out. Thank you for announcing. All right.
Zach Packer, Assistant Attorney General, present.
All right. I'm sorry, is it Packer, P-A-C-K-E-R? Oh, there it is.
Yes.
I see it now. Okay. And are you acting in the same capacity as Mr. Thompson and I believe Miss Allen?
I am, yes.
Oh,
Anybody
no.
else?
This is Audra Allen. I just wanted to clarify, I am in records with Catherine Taliaferro.
Thank you for that. There was a separate AAG, and I unfortunately forgot her name. So, Mr. Thompson, please extend my condolences or apologies for forgetting her name. Anybody else here on behalf of FSEC? All right, so let's move on then to the applicant. I do see the applicant's attorney, Erin Anderson, is at least listed present. Ms. Anderson, are you present?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Will anybody else be participating on behalf of the applicant besides you today?
I will be the only individual speaking, but I do have my colleagues, Clara Park and Andrew Lewis, listening in.
Ms. Park, are you present?
Yes, present. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Lewis, are you present as well?
Yes, Your Honor, present. Thank you.
Very good. And anybody else? Ms. Anderson?
On behalf of my client, I have several individuals listening in. That would be Leslie McLean, Linnea Fossum, and
let's slow down just a bit because I'd like to write these down and put them in the order. So let's take them one at Leslie
McLean.
Thank you.
Linnea Fossum.
Don't see her name actually written down. Oh, there it is. I see it now.
And it's possible that others may join afterward, but I don't see them on the screen at the moment.
Very good.
Thank you.
And I do see there was a late joiner for FSEC, and that's Alex Shirley. Are you present as well?
I am present.
Perfect. Let's move on then to Benton County. I do see Benton County's Attorney of Record, Leanne Holt, is present. Ms. Holt, are you there?
I am.
And will anybody else be participating or observing today on behalf of Benton County?
Yes, observing will be Michelle Mercer and Greg Wendt.
And Ms. Mercer, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt, are you present as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Anybody else, Ms. Holt, besides the three of you?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And I do see we have, on behalf of Council for the Environment, Yuri Carroll. Mr. Carroll, you was there as well?
Yes, Your Honor, present.
Good. And will anybody else be participating on behalf of the Council for the Environment besides you?
No, Your Honor.
And we also do have a court reporter, Michelle Elam or Elam, pardon me for the mispronunciation. Are you on the call as well?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. And I see another here. I'm trying to give me a moment where I look through the list and see who I know has been called and who hasn't. I do see a just a moment, please. Paris Valdez. Paris Valdez, are you on the call?
Hi, yes, I'm with Yakima Nation Fisheries.
Thank you. And do you know if anybody else will be participating on behalf of Yakima Nation Fisheries besides you? Or just observing? And you're actually not a party.
I think it's just me.
And I also see a Megan Raymond. Ms. Raymond, are you on the call?
Sorry, I was having trouble with my mic. Yep, I'm on the call, just a member of the public, just listening.
That's perfectly fine. I just need to know who you are and if you are a participant. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Based on the list that I do see, I think I have all except for Mr. Witt, who's just recently joined, or I just noticed. David Witt, are you present as well?
Yes, I am here, non-participating, just as a member of DAP, Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation.
Thank you, sir. All right. And was there anybody else present who either I have not announced or has not announced themselves, even if you're just observing? If so, go ahead and take yourself on mute and please let me know. Okay, very good. So let's go ahead and begin. Before we get into matters that may or may not be before the council, I'd like someone to speak up who is currently representing the council or who can speak on their behalf. Go ahead and announce yourself, because I'd like to make sure that no one who is participating as a council member is present in this pre-hearing conference, because there is a possible exposure to exhibits that may not be before them, and I do not wish to taint their view of the case before we get into it. So who here can speak on behalf of the council to confirm that none of them are present?
Judge Gerard, I can do that. This is John Thompson. There are I don't see any council members present, and I don't believe they were invited.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just need to make sure so we don't build unnecessary error into the record. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and, well, first I'd like to discuss now, just for everyone's clarification, there are three parties who have submitted intent to participate today. So those are the parties I'm going to be speaking directly to. That's Ms. Anderson with the applicant, Ms. Holt with Benton County, and then Mr. Carroll with the Council for the Environment. So of those individuals, we'll start first with Ms. Anderson. Is there anything we need to discuss ahead of getting into the discussion of the exhibits and witness lists?
I had some questions, but I think that they can follow the specific agenda. It was just about procedure.
Yeah, you are correct. I had anticipated discussing procedural matters at the end of any questions, but more it's just I want to preempt anything that would otherwise not make this necessary. I don't foresee anything happening, but I also don't want to guess. That's kind of the nature of the question.
Thank you. We're good to go.
Very good. Ms. Holt, same question for you.
I agree. I have the same position. I think we can proceed.
Very good. And Mr. Carroll?
Likewise, Your Honor. I think we can proceed.
And is it Coral or Carroll, sir? I don't hate to mispronounce your last name.
It's Corol. Thank you.
Oh,
Your
Coral.
Honor.
Neither one of them are correct. Oops. Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss what I did receive, confirm that the parties did receive them, and then we'll take up the admission of those in order. I'd like to start first with the applicants. With the exhibits themselves, we'll talk about the witnesses in just a moment as well. Ms. Anderson, I did receive applicants exhibit, proposed exhibits 1 through 27. Is that the totality of what was submitted by the applicant for consideration? If you're speaking, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, was the question, is that the accurate tally? And it is, yes.
Thank you. Very good. And Ms. Holt, did you receive the applicant's exhibits 1 through 27?
I did.
Mr. Kroll, did you also receive exhibits 1 through 27?
I did.
All right. And Ms. Anderson, are you anticipating submitting all of those documents for consideration in the hearing?
No, I am not.
Okay. Which ones are you not anticipating submitting? So we can just exclude those from the get-go.
I'm not calling Laura O'Neill as an expert. I'm not going to be submitting her resume.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the witnesses in just a moment. I don't want to cross streams, so let's just talk about the exhibits and the exhibit numbers, so we can pull those out.
Number 1.
Okay.
Number 7. I'm not certain about number 13, so let's go ahead and leave that in, and I'll move to admit it at the hearing if we need it. I'm looking through the remainder. That's all. The remainder should come in.
All right, and you made a qualifying statement that you may enter exhibit number 13 at the record. I want to know which ones today you anticipate offering so we can get those to the council ahead of time for review. Is it all of them with the exception of 1, 7, and 13 you will possibly offer at the hearing? Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct.
Okay. So with that, Ms. Holt, I'd like to see what you don't have objections to first, so we can just carve those off. And then if you have individual objections, we'll take them in order. So we'll start first with you. Are there any of the exhibits 2 through 6 and 8 through 27, with the exception of 13, that you are not going to object to the admission?
We are not objecting to their admission.
Of any of them?
Of any of them.
That certainly makes it easy. Thank you. Okay. And Mr. Carroll, the same question for you. Are you going to object to the admission of any of the documents I just referenced to Ms. Holt?
No objections, Your Honor.
Okay. Then at this point, applicants exhibit 2 through 6 and 8 through 12, 14 through 27 are admitted into the record. And as soon as the pre-hearing conference is done today, I will ensure that they are uploaded for the council's review. So, Ms. Anderson, now we're going to go ahead and talk about your witnesses. I did see on the witnesses you had 4 witnesses listed, though you've already told me that you're going to not call Ms. O'Neill. It's Wally Jossard, Leslie McLean, and Robin Robert. Is that
Your
the
Honor?
entirety?
No,
Yes,
that's not correct. I'm not calling Ms. O'Neill as an expert witness. I am calling her.
You're still calling her as a witness, just not an expert witness. Is that
correct? I am calling all 4, 3 as lay, 1 as an expert.
And which is the expert that you anticipate?
Ms. McLean.
Thank you for that clarification. I think I overreached in assuming since you were calling her as a witness, you weren't calling her at all.
Thanks.
Very good. And Ms. Holt, did you receive a copy of applicant's witness list?
I did.
Okay. Are you going to object to their testimony of any of those witnesses?
No.
Okay. And Mr. Kroll, same question for you.
Yes, Your Honor, I received it and I have no objections.
Okay, then all 4 of applicants' witnesses will be allowed to testify at the appropriate time. Ms. Anderson, was there anything else from the applicant, at least as far as witnesses and exhibits, that we've not discussed?
No, sir. Thank you.
Very good. Then let's move on to Benton County. Ms. Holt, I did receive your exhibits, Alpha through Egg. I don't speak sorry, A through E. Is that, and then a witness list of 2 witnesses, a George Wendt and a Michelle Mercer. Was that the entirety of the exhibits and witnesses the Benton County is anticipating presenting and proposing into the record?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Ms. Anderson, did you receive Benton County's exhibits A through E as well as their witness list?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Kroll, same question for you. Did you receive the witness list and the exhibits?
Yes, I did.
Very good. And Ms. Anderson, the same, or first of all, Ms. Holt, are you anticipating having both of those witnesses testify?
I am.
And are you offering all exhibits A through E into the record?
I am.
Good. Ms. Anderson, the same question I asked Ms. Holt. Are there any of those exhibits you are going to object to? If so, let's pull those out first, and we'll go ahead and admit the other ones, and then we'll take them up one by one if you do have any objections.
I don't have any objections, Your Honor. Thank you.
And that's for both the exhibits as well as the witnesses, just so we're clear?
Correct. Yes.
All right, Mr. Kroll, any objection to the admission of the exhibits or those witnesses testifying?
I have no objections to either the exhibits or the witnesses.
Excellent. Right. And Ms. Holt, was there anything else besides what we just discussed that Benton County will be offering or witnesses testifying?
No, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Kroll, I didn't receive either a witness list or an exhibit list from you. You're not required to. I just want to confirm there wasn't a miscommunication along the way. Did you submit anything for Council for the Environment?
I did not, Your Honor.
All right. So those were the issues I wanted to talk about in regards to the exhibits. As I said before, I will make these available to the council as soon as possible so they can review it ahead of the hearing, so they're not distracted by shuffling through new or novel documents. So now I'd like to go around to the participants and see if there are any other pre-hearing matters we need to discuss that I asked Ms. Anderson and Ms. Holt to hold off on to until this point. So Ms. Anderson, what were those preliminary questions or things you wanted to discuss outside of the evidence?
Thank you, Your Honor. One thing I want to note up front, we haven't identified any rebuttal witnesses because we haven't received any pre-filed testimony. So it is possible that the parties may need rebuttal witnesses that we would identify at the time we receive direct testimony. Is that acceptable to you, Your Honor? Okay.
Well, to request the rebuttal witnesses, it'll still be held by the same standard in which rebuttal witnesses are given. So I cannot guarantee their admission that will have to be determined after the testimony is solicited.
My point was I wanted to make it clear that it is possible there's a universe of unknowns out there. That's all. The other 2 preliminary matters, and I've discussed these with the remaining council. I am interested in the opportunity for a brief 5-minute opening statement. And then I wanted to, once we've discussed that, discuss closing brief and the like. So first request is, may we make a 5-minute opening statement?
I had anticipated that actually being practice. If it was not anticipated, then I'm not sure where the disconnect was. Ms. Holt, I would give everyone the opportunity, or at least you and the Council for the Environment, both the same opportunity. Do you have any reason why we can't do opening statements if we limit them to 5 minutes?
I do not.
And Mr. Kroll, same question for you, sir.
No objections, Your Honor.
Okay, then Ms. Anderson, yes, we'll go ahead and start with everyone being allowed to, or at least given the opportunity to make an opening statement. Please move on to your next question.
My next question is whether we can have a 5-minute summation of evidence at the end of the proceeding and then submit written post-hearing memoranda.
As with opening statements, I did anticipate making closing summations or closing arguments. As far as the hearing brief goes, this is, although we are rather late in the process too, there's still a need to move the process forward. So if we are going to do closing briefs, if the other parties agree, it'll be a very short window, like a week, just so the council can start prepare their discussions on the matter, and then from there they can use your briefs in consideration. But let's see what the other party's perspective is on that before we codify it. Ms. Holt, do you have any reason why we can't do closing statements and closing briefs with a week after close of record for submission?
I would agree to both, and I would request as well doing a closing brief. I would be fine with even the short turnaround of 1 week.
Okay, and Mr. Kroll, same 2 questions for you, sir.
Your Honor, although I don't anticipate filing a closing brief, I have no objections to it.
You're still a party of interest, so I'd like to get your input, notwithstanding what you wish or don't wish to do. So, very good. All right, thank you. All right, so Ms. Anderson, then yes, closing brief, 5-minute summations, and you'll have a week after close of record to submit voluntary post-hearing briefs.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have nothing further.
Okay, and just so the parties are clear too, the deliberations or the at least my construction of the summation of facts will not wait until the post-hearing briefs are received. So that analysis and that work is going to begin immediately. So I think, well, I just want to clear as to how exactly those are going to interplay with the construction of the order. All right. Anything else, Ms. Anderson? I think you may have stated this, but I talked over you. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I did have just a technical question about sharing of exhibits. Is that something that staff handles? Would you like the attorney for the represented party to put the exhibit up on the screen? Just interested in whichever way makes it easiest for everybody.
The hearing, if I'm correct, is going to be held via Teams. And as far as my other hearings with OAH, we use them extensively. And in those practices, the party offering the document or wish to share the document, they will simply utilize the share function. And then they will control the flow of the information itself. I would just ask before anybody does share something, and just to request my permission first, so we can ensure the documents that are being shared are entered into the record and we don't inadvertently put something in that otherwise doesn't need to be before the council.
Very good. That's very helpful information. Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. And Ms. Holt, any other pre-hearing matters you'd like to discuss before we end today's pre-hearing conference with still going around the table?
No, Your Honor, I believe Ms. Anderson summed them up.
Okay. And Mr. Kroll, anything else we need to discuss before I go around and see if there's anything else we need to discuss today?
I don't have anything to add, Your Honor.
Okay. So with that, we have numerous participants, even if they're not parties of interest in this matter. I'd like to see those of the major ones. If there's anything else we need to discuss today in their view, whether or not we'll take them up is depending upon what those suggestions are. So as far as FSEC goes, and someone will have to designate who's going to speak on behalf of FSEC, is there anything else we need to discuss today that will facilitate a smooth hearing next week?
This is Amy Hoffmeyer, speaking for FSEC staff. FSEC staff have no other issues for this meeting. We will be reaching out to the OAH office to ensure any final logistics needed are worked out ahead of next week's meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then we have 2 other actual agencies here as well, agency and a nation. Ms. Valdez, again, although you're not a participant, you still have an interest in this matter. Anything we need to discuss, or at least any questions you have before we end?
No, I don't have any questions.
And Mr. Witt?
No questions.
Okay, and members of the public, I appreciate your participation, but I'm not going to ask you, as we'll simply be just observers. So that was everything I need to discuss today. After the conclusion of today's pre-hearing conference, I will memorialize what was agreed upon in a pre-hearing conference order that will be sent to parties immediately, as the hearing is next week. I will also instruct my staff to upload the admitted exhibits into the record for council's consideration. I'm going to open the floor up to anybody who wishes to speak on any questions, not testimony, before we conclude today. Is there anything else anybody has any questions about before we conclude? If so, go ahead and turn yourself off mute, and we'll take them up in order if there are more than one. All right, and hearing none, we'll go ahead and end today. Thank you all for your participation. The time is 9:25 a.m. and the pre-hearing conference is adjourned. Have a good morning and a very good weekend. I'll speak to you all next week.